What was it? What was the experience like? Your last 2 years with James Bouknight, who went on to be a NBA lottery pick, but at the time he also was trying to figure out himself and finding himself in the game and whatnot, especially his junior year. Then, like you mentioned, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Couldn't play most of AAU. Didn't experience Peace Jam. Burst back into everyone's mind at the 8 out in Las Vegas that y'all guys got invited.
I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you reminded me. So that first year McDuffie, I could tell he was going through a lot of the similar things I was going through when I first got to McDuffie. You know, he had like one scholarship offer, younger kid. You could tell he's never like been in a structured environment, structured system where he's being held accountable. He has to do these type of things, but you could tell the talent level was off the charts whenever he decided to turn it on. But back then it was a matter of turning it on. He didn't always turn it on in terms of, you know, some people felt like he played nonchalant sometimes, but that talent level was there. And because of, you know, the competitive nature of the open gyms that first year when he got there, I feel like if you were to ask him, it definitely, you know, helped him realize, you know, what this is about too. Like, this is what talent and high level basketball looks like, high level players looks like. And then you follow, you know, him getting hurt was tough. I know that summer was, you know, tough for him. He was really looking forward to, you know, AAU. But that was another one of the most remarkable things I ever seen. Him not playing AAU the whole year. Then going to the 8 and doing what he did. I don't think I've ever been happier for anyone when I saw that happen, because it's like, you guys had no idea this whole time, but I knew. I seen him in the gym, in the open gym, how nice James was. But now for everyone to get to see him do all the things me and him used to talk about, you know, in the little common area at lunch, at dinner.
Right.
Seeing him do some of those things, get the notoriety, get the attention that we all knew he deserved. It was, you know, it was amazing for me to see as, you know, one of his great friends. So,
right.
And then
what
seeing
was that
him go to
performance
UConn.
like for him? What was it like seeing him have that? Because his first time back on was that y'all was playing in the East Coast, I believe, up against Philly Pride.
Yeah, it was a tournament in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Okay, got you.
In Atlanta,
so what was that like? Like seeing, I believe he came back, had 30 against Philly Pride, like first big game back on the court and whatnot, and a lot of people was calling back home, like a lot, including y'all age group, like, yo man, he just went crazy, the knees is back, What was that like?
It was great, you know, because you don't know how someone's gonna be when they come back from an injury. Like he had the knee injury, but it was just pure happiness, because I could tell how happy he was, how long the process was for him to get back to that place, and probably even curious if he was going to be able to get back to that place. But to see him do that, you know, realize he's back and, you know, he's the same James. And like I said, just to get the notoriety and to see him do the things on the court that I knew he could do and not everyone else is getting a chance to see. Honestly, it was just pure joy and happiness to see him be able to do those things.
Most definitely, man. So now, you said you had committed to Wake Forest, and that's where you began your collegiate career. What made you select that school?
What made me select that school is, you know, they were one of the first high majors to offer me a scholarship, and, you know, they were consistent in my recruitment process the whole time, from the first time they offered me until my senior year. They came on multiple occasions to come see me, and it wasn't just assistants. It was head coach Danny Manning at the time. He came multiple times to see me at McDuffie, and they were consistent. And, you know, they had a player, Isaiah Massoud, who was from PSA, who played with PSA from New York as well, who was there, and he had nothing but high reviews to say about the staff and Wake Forest in general. And then when I went my visit, you know, I just decided, you know, this is where I want to go, and so I just committed on my visit.
Most definitely. I know you averaged 12 minutes per game as a freshman at Wake Forest. How hard was it to play such a small amount, and how hard was the adjustment?
You know, coming out of high school, you expecting, you know, I think I could find a way to start. I could find a way to play a decent amount of minutes. So in some degree, that delusion is good, but in some way it can hinder you if you allow it, because you coming in with a false pretense that things are going to be a type of way when they not, most likely not going to be how you had envisioned. So it was tough some games, because, you know, there might be some games I played 4 minutes. Some games I play 20 minutes and then I go back to 4 minutes. Some days I have really good days of practice and I'm thinking I'm going to play a lot. And just because of the scout and the schemes that they want to go with, I might not play as much as I felt like I deserved. And obviously in hindsight, you realize now what college coaches have to go through. And, you know, I wasn't ready to play necessarily start or be 25 minutes a game. So, but at the same time, you in practice competing and you feel like you can. But I definitely learned a lot. And playing 12 minutes a game, you know, it showed me that it takes a lot to get on the court at that level.
Yeah.
And you gotta, especially as a freshman, you gotta find something that makes you, makes you an intangible asset in terms of being able to get you on the court. Like, you gotta find something that separates you from everyone else. Otherwise, they're gonna go with the seniority. They're gonna go with the people that's been there, that's learned the ropes. So for me, it was, my shooting ability. So I had to really dial in on that and make sure, like, okay, like, I gotta separate myself from my shooting so that I could at least let that be the thing to get me on the court,
on the floor.
Which ended up being the case.
Understood. So now, when the season ended, how did you intend on making sure that you get more playing time the following year, your sophomore season?
So my freshman year, we had lost already in the ACC tournament, but COVID hit. So there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of what was going to happen. Unfortunately, they let Danny Manning go, so I was also decided if I wanted to go back to Wake Forest because it can be a coaching change. But I ended up deciding I was going to go back to Wake Forest. And just that summer, gyms were closed.
You need a swing, bro?
No, I'm good. Gyms was closed. And, I was working out outside in the park, shooting against the wall. I was doing anything I can to try and, stay in shape.
Right.
One thing I give credit to as well, I was able to go down during that COVID for 3 weeks. I was able to go down and work out and live with Sharif Cooper and Omar Cooper and all of them. I was there. They was going to the gym hooping every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that 3 weeks really helped me grow as well. Isaac Okura was with us as well when he was going through his draft process.
Mm-hmm.
So going there and competing and playing against those guys and all the other guys in Atlanta was another thing for me where I'm playing against someone that's about to go to the NBA. I'm playing against one of the best guards in high school.
Yeah.
So I'm playing against these guys and I'm doing what I could do. So that was another confidence booster.
What were these dudes like up close and personal? And a few people like in that southeast region, they know like the AOT thing,
yeah,
the Omar Cooper thing, how he develops his players. You being out there, being around them, what was that like? And how did you end up even connecting with those people?
Yeah, so how I connected with them was again through Jeremy. He was, Jeremy Pridgeon, he was helping me. He said, they got the gym over here. You could come down. Coop said you could come down and stay with them as long as you need to be able to work out. So that's how I was able to do it. And then it's a different level of competitiveness. That's the best word I could say it. Best word I could use. They play with no fouls. They play with no out of bounds. And it's like, honestly, working. They just play. They hoop all day, every day. And I remember at that time, Sharif might have been the best guard. Other than him and Cole I know it was a toss-up between the best guards I ever seen in person in my life. And then Isaac, just being the athleticism and just seeing someone who's about to be a lottery pick. I think that was the first time I seen up close someone that's about to do something that I was aspiring to do. It's just a different level of competitiveness, especially when, just being in the gym, you're hooping every day, you're going back to the crib. If you didn't win that day, you're going to hear about it. You can't wait till the next day, and it's just, it's a fight or flight. Either you're going to bring it or you're not, and then you're going to be left behind.
And what about like their togetherness, their like family kind of atmosphere down there, all them AOT kids and whatnot? Talk to us about that.
You could tell they grew up together. They ate together, they slept together, they hooped together, everything they did is together. And like you said, it's a family's atmosphere. They would all be at Sharif crib. We'd all work out together. We'd all go out to eat together. But we'd also have fun together. We'd go to the mall. We'd go, chill in the pool. We'd do other things together. But you could tell like it was a real brotherly brotherhood there. So it's like everyone looked at Big Coop like it was a father, and it was just all love all around.
Much respect, man. Now that's some dope stuff right there, because it was impossible to get in the gym in 2020, man.
Yeah.
And being able to have that kind of contact, to be able to go down south, the southeast was basically the only part of the country where people were in gyms. Georgia, Florida, some of the Carolinas, and you'd be hard pressed to find a spot in the Carolinas. So really, Georgia, Florida, some of Texas was where you could find a gym during those times, man. So that was major. How would you say that helped you? Because I know your playing time went up. You basically doubled your playing time your sophomore year, and it's a new coach.
Yeah.
So you think that
definitely. I just went into that year, like if I'm playing against one of the best players in college who's about to be a lottery pick, playing against one of the best guards. I'm competing every day. It's not going to be nobody at Wake Forest that could guard me and do the things I could do. So I just went into that preseason with a whole different mindset because I knew how hard I trained despite all the circumstances with COVID. I came in really good shape. I just came prepared and to a different level of confidence where I'm like, it's a new coach. He gonna roll the balls out. He gonna let whoever the best players are play. So that's the mindset I went into it. Like I gotta be one of the best players to play, and that's kind of what I was able to do.
Understood. And how did that season go? I know usually when it's a new coach, it's a rebuild, so it's usually tough. How do you think that season went for you guys as a team?
It was definitely tough. Well, one, just because of COVID, there's no fans. You don't get to build no continuity with your teammates and your coaches because you're not able to interact with each other. You're not able to go to coach's house for dinner. You're not able to do a lot of things that make a team a team. But we had gotten locked down as well. So the season started, and then we had to wait 30 days because people got COVID. And then we had to restart back up. But that season had some really high ups for me individually, and then some really lows because of just, whether you want to call it sophomore slump or whatever. So I ended up getting a starting spot. I ended up having a really good first half of the year. Had career high that year, 31 points against Pittsburgh. I hit 8 threes. I went 8 for 10. I think that was like the third most in Wake Forest history. And then I followed it up with another really good game against NC State. But we weren't winning, which was tough. But, I'm starting to see some of the things that I could do individually. And then from there, the second half of the season was just the complete flip. So up until that point, I was shooting like 46 from 3. I was averaging double figures. I had a really good game at Duke. I had a really good game. I had some really good games I started to stack on top of each other. And then from there, it kind of just went downhill where I went into a super shooting slump. I ended up not starting no more. I ended up not playing as much anymore. And just the ups and downs of that mentally helped me grow along with, the COVID side of things. It just helped me grow and even get more mental fortitude and toughness. Because of just, I had really good moments, but that might have been one of my hardest years in terms of college basketball. Just, all things considered.
How hard of a season was it with all those COVID protocol games and having a shortened season and waking up thinking you got a game gets canceled, things of that nature? What was all that like that 2020, 2021 season?
I mean, it was terrible, honestly. Like that's the only. There was really nothing good that came out of it because we're college athletes, we're student athletes, we're going to college. In part, mostly, a big part is because of the sport. We have a scholarship to play the sport, but if you're taking away that aspect, it kind of is just like, you got to figure out who you are besides that sport because you're being forced to. Otherwise, you're gonna be depressed. There was some really dark days for myself, for my teammates, just because we're stuck in the room, we can't leave. We're in a hotel, we might have COVID, we have no practice. You're taking away the biggest thing of our lives up until this point, and forcing us to really reflect on things that up until this point we never reflected on.
So you got nothing but time to do so.
And time could either you could make the most of that time or that time is going to kill you because it's like I don't know what to do with this time. So
deep man. Now, you decided to enter the transfer portal after your sophomore season at Wake Forest. What went into that decision? I mean, your playing time went up. You just mentioned you had your career high of your career in college, actually, that year. So most people would say, why would you transfer then?
For me, because of all things considered and just because of how the season went, and just some of the exit interviews, not that I was pushed out, but I just didn't feel like the direction they was going in, at least from the conversations, they was like kind of, you could be a part of it, but like it didn't feel like they was invested in me. Like, we want you to be a part of it. It was like, you can if you want to, but otherwise, like, we good. Like, this is who we really want to keep. And everyone else we told to leave, but we're not going to tell you to leave because we seen what you could do, but it's only like, it's up to you. Like, we don't really, it didn't feel no investment. I just wanted a fresh start in terms of, picking my coach again and who I was going to go play for, which once we finish the interview, you'll see I kind of have a bad luck in terms of picking my head coach. So that's what I wanted to do. So just have a fresh start.